everyone, and welcome to Live at 12:45. I'm Kristen Bomas, and here we are in this month of October talking about women's breast health and looking at various women's perspective on their health and taking care of themselves. And I'm going to take a one-time break from interviewing all of the women in the lineup to talk personally about something that happened for me in this past week. I'm very passionate about women having a voice. I'm very passionate about women rising into their power and embracing all that we are about. And I think that comes from the way I grew up and the challenges, that were in my own life. And so, as most of you know, and for those of you who are just learning about me, I live my life in a state of mastery. And so I teach life mastery, but I practice everything I preach and teach. So this month carries a lot of emotion for me, as it does for all of us. And I'm very passionate about women and our health. And I realized that in my passion about this month, that I might have offended some women in my personal life, not on air. And I had to stop and ask myself what was going on inside me, that I was coming on stronger, harsher maybe than I would ever intend to. And never in a million years would I ever want to upset someone, make them feel upset in any way inside because of my views. So that's my ego. And so I took the time to look at it, and this is what I came up with. I am very, very passionate about women. And in my own life, it's been quite the journey to learn to speak my truth, to have a voice, to not be shy about the way that is accepted or not accepted. And what I mean by that is sometimes, like now, talking about myself is not what we normally do. But I realize that that's my health, and that's how I take care of myself, is by keeping myself stress-free and living in a state of peace and joy and freedom within myself. And I do that by addressing those feelings of discomfort. And I was uncomfortable the way I was coming across over this topic. Very uncomfortable. Sorry. In a woman's life, we have been kept away from knowing. We've been kept away from having a voice. We don't really ask questions about our own health anymore. But as women, when we unite, we can help each other gather the data, gather the understanding. We can share our stories, which is what women are known to do. We share, we gather, we process together. We aren't fragmented by nature. We don't compete by nature. We are a gathering gender. And oftentimes this culture fragments us and it takes us away from one another. Sorry. And I think this month does that for me. Because I love women, and all I want to know is, what can we do, one woman at a time, to start to embrace one another and understand that we each have our own journey? But what can we also do to help each other understand that there's more than what we're just told? And that's where I think my passion about this month came across kind of angry. And I looked at that. I looked at, was I angry? And if I was angry, what was I angry about? Because I think I might have hurt people around me, and I didn't want to do that. So I spent this weekend really searching that out, and I realized the anger, if you will, comes from hurt. And the hurt is from growing up keeping quiet about my views, keeping quiet about who I am, not knowing how to really take care of Kristen if I'm not taking care of the other person first. And it is part of our absence of voice to me. And so that's where I get very passionate about women. It was part of not being told the whole truth and being left in a state of vagueness. It was all of that kind of, women are kind of, had been, and maybe we still are at some level, not given the opportunity to really be the knowledgeable one and the informed one. We are just now coming into our professional positions. And so I think a lot of that comes up for me in this month. I believe in our health, and I believe in our voice. And I believe that this time is about women asking, we're walking on behalf of our health. We aren't walking on behalf of our illness. We're raising money for research that we believe is going to give us answers and cures and vaccines, and we aren't getting our answers. And I also don't know if we're really asking for those answers to be clearly pronounced, defined, and explained to us. And I want us to unite. We've all lost a family or a friend to breast cancer. I'd be surprised if I know somebody who hasn't. And we don't need the awareness anymore. We have the awareness. We need the cure. We need to know that our health, our dignity, our intellect, our self-care is in our own hands, and that as women we're supporting that right. And so I looked at my anger. I looked at where I was coming across too strong and maybe infringing on the comfort of women I care deeply about. And I realized it came from all of these sources. It came from that place inside me who never had a voice and had to fight to learn to speak, and to learn that I was accepted more in my freedom than ever I was when I was pent up with fear. I learned that my health came into balance as I learned to speak more from that truth within me. I learned that my life and my friendships were much more pure and valuable to me. And I live free of the fear of getting sick, because I realize that this life is full of such beautiful joy, except when I'm angry. So in my own life, I always step back to look inside when I notice that there's an imbalance like that, where I'm not standing and presenting in a place of love and acceptance. And many women, I'm sure, felt not accepted behind the scenes, because I'm much more dramatically, in my, opinion, I guess, when I'm behind the scenes. But in this case, I really took the time to look inside, as I always do. And this weekend, in looking inside and seeing and starting to define all of that emotionality, I allowed myself to let go and move through that anger. And I literally felt that shift into a pure acceptance, knowing that for a long time, women have done what we thought was the right thing to do, and we continue to do what we think is the right thing to do. We think we're fighting for one another. We think we're raising money for one another, and we are. But are we getting the results that we're fighting for? And so I ask all of us to ask. Just ask yourself. That's all I ask. Where you stand inside yourself. Ask. Have your own thought. Share it with your female friends. Let's unite. Don't divide. And sometimes our anger divides us, and I think that unintentionally mine had pushed away. I haven't been told by anyone anything. It just is my feeling about it all. But let's open our hearts to one another. It was my ego that felt my passion was going to be readily received, and that allowed me to overlook someone else's perspective. So let's embrace one another. Let's enjoy each other's difference in perspective, and let's work towards health. Let's work towards a strong breast health. Let's work towards a new way of thinking about our health. Let's embrace the pain of loss that we have all endured at one level or another as a result of this illness. And let's look at health, relationships, love, and acceptance as a new way to move forward. And let all of that start within you, for you. And let's start asking some questions to each other and to the big hitters out there. What is the outcome of all this research? What are you finding? Other than more treatments, how close are we to cures? Where are we going? And how might we as women stand united as a we too have the right to know what is going on with the research for our health and our wellness. I thank all of you for joining me today. I really want you to understand that in this life, we're always going to have challenges, and we're going to be judged, we're going to be misunderstood. But if we just take the time inside ourselves to start to address those challenges, we can free ourselves of the discomfort. And when we free our own self of that discomfort, we have the opportunity to free others of their discomfort. It's all by design. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of my life and for joining me today as we look at our health and our wellness, and we move out from underneath this blanket of sickness and chronic worry and fear, and we make some demands as we too have the right to know what is happening in the research, so that we too can make some strong choices as to where we go from this point forward. Thank you all. May you all learn to speak your truth, to know what's going on inside yourself, so that as you move forward in this life, you don't hesitate to open your heart and to show your weaknesses, because it's in that weakness that you find your greatest strength. Thank you. Have a wonderful Monday. I will see you Thursday as we do live at 12:45. I have a wonderful guest joining me on this Thursday. Melissa is joining me. And I will have wonderful women joining me every Monday and Thursday as we go through this wonderful month. And I thank you again. Also, I'm on YouTube, so if you'd like to join me there and subscribe, that would be wonderful. I'm very excited for all of the new people that have been joining me on my page, and I thank you all again.